Hello everybody, welcome to our YouTube channel, The Uncertainty Principle. আমাদের ইউটিউব চ্যানেলে আমরা ক্যারিয়ার স্কিল ডেভেলপমেন্ট এবং ডিফারেন্ট ক্যারিয়ার অপশনস নিয়ে রেগুলার বেসিসে ডিসকাশন করি এবং অনেকদিন ধরেই আমাদের একটা প্ল্যান ছিল যে মানে যুগের সঙ্গে তাল মিলিয়ে যেহেতু অনেক নতুন নতুন ক্যারিয়ার অপশনস উঠে আসছে, তো সায়েন্সের স্টুডেন্টদের জন্য নতুন কি কি ক্যারিয়ার অপশনস এই মুহূর্তে উঠে আসছে সেটা নিয়ে আমাদের ডিসকাশনের অনেকদিন ধরে ইচ্ছে ছিল। সেজন্য আমরা একটা 4 ডে প্রোগ্রাম ফাইনালি আমরা অ্যারেঞ্জ করতে পেরেছি, যেখানে সায়েন্স স্ট্রিমের স্টুডেন্টদের জন্য থাকবে নানান রকম এমার্জিং ক্যারিয়ার টপিকস। আজকের সেশনটা ডেডিকেটেড টু robotics. So robotics is a topic which students have a strong fascination for. And in today's program, we are lucky to have Dr. Chayan Sarkar, who has a vast experience in this field. Welcome, sir, to our channel. Let me introduce him first. So Dr. Chayan Sarkar is a scientist at TCS Research and Innovation, which is the corporate research group of Tata Consultancy Services. উনি ব্যাচেলার্স এবং মাস্টার্স ডিগ্রি করেন কম্পিউটার সায়েন্স এন্ড ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং, যাদবপুর ইউনিভার্সিটি থেকে ব্যাচেলার্স এবং বম্বে আইআইটি থেকে মাস্টার্স। তারপর উনি পিএইচডি করেন ফ্রম ডেলফট ইউনিভার্সিটি অফ টেকনোলজি ইন নেদারল্যান্ডস। বর্তমানে উনি টিসিএস রিসার্চ এন্ড ইনোভেশনের কলকাতা ল্যাবের এমএক্স রিসার্চ গ্রুপের পার্ট, এবং ওনার মেন রিসার্চ ফোকাস হলো মাল্টি রোবট সিস্টেম, হিউম্যান রোবট ইন্টারাকশন অ্যান্ড ইন্টারনেট অফ থিংস। এত মানে এক্সপিরিয়েন্সড একজনকে পেয়ে, এবং বিশেষ করে বাঙালি, তো আমাদের চ্যানেলটা তো বাংলাতেই ডিসকাশন হয়ে এসেছে এতদিন অবধি, তো খুব ইচ্ছা ছিল বাংলায় আর কি গল্পটা করার, কিন্তু যেহেতু রোবোটিক্সটা মানে এতটাই হট টপিক যে অনেক নন বেঙ্গলি স্টুডেন্টরাও খবর পেয়ে তারাও অ্যাটেন্ড করেছে যেহেতু, তাই আমি স্যারকে বলছিলাম যে আমাদের ডিসকাশনটা আমরা ইংলিশেই করব, আর স্টুডেন্টদেরকে বলছি যে কোনো জায়গায় যদি তোমাদের অসুবিধা হয়ও আমি পরে বাংলায় একটা সামারি ভিডিও করে দেবো। Okay, so sir, welcome to our channel, and my first question is, your research area is multi-robot system, human-robot interaction, and Internet of Things. So these words we are hearing a lot about, but I'm sure that students do not have much clear idea about these fields. So my first question is if you just clarify that what these things are and where they are applied in our daily life.
Right. Thank you, and thank you আমাকে ইনভাইট করার জন্য। So I'll mostly talk in English, as madam said. So let me go in the reverse order. So Internet of Things, that I used to work on Internet of Things related topic, and I wish I can still do things on in that domain. But as you know, everybody has 24 hours in a day, so I have to focus on something and leave out on something. During my PhD work, I actually worked on Internet of Things, and I certainly have a lot of interest in that domain. And nowadays I don't work on those areas that actively, but yeah, every now and then I look into it and work, try to do something. Madam said that I have some experience, but I would say I have very limited experience in robotics. So I started robotics after joining TCS in that sense. So that would be 4 years now. So I just, in that sense, I have very limited knowledge in robotics. But I can give you some, I hope I can give you some overview of the field and what is going on, and how you can pursue robotics as a career, or something that is related to robotics. Now, going into a bit of details of these areas, first into Internet of Things. Internet of Things, again, it doesn't mean much until and unless you explain what do you mean, or you explicitly say about a particular application or particular domain, because Internet of Things means many things. Internet of Things means, for example, in short, if you want to give description, definition, it means you are able to connect or communicate with anything at any point of time from anywhere, right? So we have internet. That means a number of computing devices are connected, and since they are connected, you can exchange certain information between them. Now you take a notch up, and Internet of Things means you can interact with your daily objects. For example, daily objects can be your TV, your washing machine, your fridge, your door lock, and obviously other computing devices. Now, to have a meaningful interaction or some sort of communication with these devices, you need to have some sort of computing powers in these devices. Thanks to high low cost embedded devices and cheaper embedded devices, you can put some embedded device on almost everything, and through that embedded device you are able to do some sort of communication with these devices, some sort of message exchange with these devices. Most of us have seen those advertisement by Amitabh Bachchan, those AC that you are in a completely different place and you are still able to control your AC from that remote place. How did that happen? It's like you have that your AC has a embedded device which has Wi-Fi connectivity, and that device is connected with your home Wi-Fi, and that through that connection, that device is connected with a server, and a coupling client application is connected to that server, and through that you are actually able to connect with that device. So this is how you are able to make the things connected. But making things connected doesn't mean that it becomes something useful. So one of the key idea behind Internet of Things is you make things connected in a meaningful way so that our lives become much more easier, much more comfortable, and things are much more efficient, so on and so forth. So just remote connectivity is not sufficient. You need some sort of intelligence on top of it, some sort of, let's say, depending on what kind of device it is and what is the purpose of it, you put some sort of intelligence onto it. So in case of AC, you probably want to control it automatically when let's say the temperature is comfortable or not comfortable. Similarly, you probably want the AC to inform you that it requires maintenance or something like that. So these kind of smartness you want to add along with the remote connectivity, and that gives you this era of Internet of Things, right? So that is a brief idea about Internet of Things. I mostly worked on communication aspects of embedded devices. Especially, you can imagine many of these devices will be battery powered, and you cannot change their battery every now and then. Imagine, not today, not every house has those many devices, but imagine when you have 10 smart devices in your house, and they are battery operated, and if you have to change their battery every month, it will be very annoying. I have four wall clock in my house, and every 2 months I have to change battery in either of them, and that itself is quite annoying. But imagine the number of devices are increasing and you have to change their battery every now and then. That will be super annoying, and then people may stop using it. So you have to have a sort of mechanism, or you have to have a communication protocol that are energy efficient, so that with a single battery they can run for not just couple of days, couple of weeks, but months and year, right? So that was one of the areas that many people work on, and I also tried to work on those areas. Yes, now coming back to robotics domain. In robotics there are many areas. Robotics is a multidisciplinary field, as you all know. It is a mix of, let's say, control system, electrical engineering, computer science, mechanical engineering, right? And as madam already said, my background is computer science. So I mostly work on different algorithm development for different robotic applications. My knowledge on the mechatronics or mechanical side of robotics, or even the control part of robotics, is very limited. I don't focus that much on those aspects of it, but I mostly focus on the algorithm design part and AI for robotics. Okay. Now to the two different topics that I talked about. One is multi-robot systems and one is human-robot interaction. In multi-robot systems means, as the name suggests, you have a system where there are multiple robots. It's not a single robot system. There are multiple robots that are used, especially in a factory or warehouse. There are more than one robots are used to perform a set of jobs, and the purpose and now these robots are like agent or like other human beings. So when in a setup you have multiple, let's say, person working, you have to assign them job, right? You do this job, you do that job, right? Similarly, when there are multiple robots, you have to assign them jobs, right? When there are a number of jobs, you have to sometimes you have robots of different types. There you also have to determine who can do what kind of job. So and obviously you are not going to do this manually, so you need to have algorithm which can automatically decide who can do what kind of task. And then if there are multiple robots who can do a particular task, who should do this task? And your overall objective is, let's say, to complete all the task efficiently. And efficiency can be defined in terms of in shortest period of time or with least cost, something like that. So you have to develop algorithms so that you assign tasks to the robots, so that they work in an efficient way. Now going to that human robot interaction part. So robots are used in industrial setup for many years. In production lines, robots are used at least for last 30, 40 years. Okay, in car manufacturing, robots are used for that many years. But there, the robots are used in a sort of caged environment. Robots are used in an area where most of the times no human beings goes inside. Okay, robots are programmed to do very high precision job repetitively, so the robots keep doing that kind of job, right? I don't exactly recall the name of the movie, maybe City Light or something. So in one of the
Like,
Charlie Chaplin movie, where he is working in an industry. So those are early days of industrial revolution, right? Where human workers used to work in assembly lines, right? So he was doing some assembly work, right? Now those jobs are replaced by robots, right? Human workers don't do those kind of job, but a robotic arm does that kind of job. But in those setup, robots are used for doing particular task repetitively, day in day out, right? But when there are more robots, I mean, the hardwares are getting cheaper, there are more computation power and all this thing. So this leads to a scenario where we see robots in our surroundings. So robots are there in home, office, hospital, restaurant, airport, all these areas. Though we see there are relatively less number of robots, but the numbers are increasing day by day. So when there are robots in our daily surroundings, there is always scope of interaction. So the robot is part of our surrounding, and we may need to interact with the robot. For example, there is this famous robot. I think now it is running for 20, yeah, I think 20 years. This is called Roomba, the house cleaning robot. So you can buy those robots, and it will do the floor mopping, right? It will clean the floor. In the earlier version, there were a limited scope of interaction with the robot. Probably you just press the button and it does the cleaning, and then it comes back to the charging location. But now there can be different kinds of interaction. You can say, you can instruct the robot that, okay, clean room 1 or something like that. Okay, you don't need to
Okay.
clean everything, right? So there is scope for interaction. So when these kind of things are emerging, then you need to have meaningful interaction with the robots, and that is what I'm also focusing on, human robot interaction. Yeah, that's a brief summary. If you have some immediate question, you can, but otherwise I'll just show 2 videos demonstrating these applications.
Okay, okay. Sir, please continue.
Okay, then let me share my screen first.
Okay.
Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, I'm adding it to stream. Yes, it is visible. Yes.
Okay, so then first let me show you a video of a multi-robot system. So these are robots. So let me stop this audio.
Hmm.
So these are robots actually used in different e-commerce warehouses. This is one of the Amazon warehouse, as you can see, Amazon fulfillment. So these robots are used in Amazon warehouse. Similarly, Alibaba also uses their own robotic system. Flipkart also started using robots recently in their warehouses. So you see these racks actually store different kinds of object. You see books, and Amazon sell everything. So when there is a customer order, the system knows where that object is stored. I mean, in which rack that object is stored. So a robot is instructed to go to that location and bring that rack. So the robot goes to the location, bring the rack, and then a human worker picks up the object, put the addressing stamp, and ship it to the customer, right? So previously, this used to be human worker who moves around the entire warehouse and picks the object, and then brings that object. But there are different ergonomic challenges. This is Alibaba warehouse. You can see a similar system. There are the different ergonomic hazard to human workers as well. So these systems, these robots actually helps to mitigate those ergonomic hazards to human workers, because these warehouses are huge. They are as big as like 20 football field. So if a human worker has to move around this warehouse and pick up object, you can imagine how these systems are how stressful that would be to the human workers. Now, thanks to this robotic systems, they are done by robots, right? So, as I was saying, if the now you see these, so there are hundreds of robots running around this entire place. So, first of all, who should do which task? Then there is path planning, there is collision avoidance. You know that two robots are coming close to each other, so they should not collide, right? They should not collide with another robot, they should not collide with any other static object and things like that, right? So all this has to be managed, and that is actually the role of algorithm design for multi-robot systems. I did a work on that kind of thing for multi-robot task allocation. This is one algorithm development by us, me and my team. So this is just obviously we don't have hundreds of robots running around in our lab. So this is a simulation-based setup that is only showing the efficacy of our algorithm. So imagine this is a warehouse floor, and these are racks where different objects are stored, and these colored bubbles are the robots. So the robots, starting from the packaging dock, they go to different location depending on the customer order, and then they picks up object, and then they come back to the packaging location. I'm not going into the details of the algorithm, but just to give you an idea that this is how the work on multi-robot systems can result. Yeah, so that's it. And yeah, maybe yeah, we can proceed further. I'll just stop the screen sharing now. I'll share some more videos as we move ahead, and there are some videos regarding human robot interaction as well.
Okay, okay, okay. So the last video was really interesting. Uh,
Yeah.
Sir, what do you think that in the coming years, guess by 2025, so are we going to be surrounded by robots? Because after listening to you, I think that this is going to be the scenario. So what are the future of robotics? What do you think, according to you?
Yes, I think it is very straightforward. There will be
Hmm.
more and more robots in our surroundings. As I said already, robots. There are floor cleaning robot. Though that is one of the successful end user robot,
Hmm.
commercial robot that is used worldwide. I have seen robot in airport in China. I have interacted. I have asked it for my flight direction, and though
Oh, I see.
it was not that that good, there is a certain scope for improvement. But that's okay. Obviously, you have to try, you have to fail, and then you improve. So there are. I have seen robots in. Airport. I have seen a robot in restaurant and a robot in house, floor cleaning robot. There are now this COVID scenario which pushed
Hmm.
towards hospital kind of usage. Probably you
Hmm.
have seen different news article, even
Hmm. Hmm,
videos
hmm.
where robots are used in hospitals.
Yes,
The
yes.
hospital usage were like some futuristic application that people were talking about. Let's say in last November, people were talking about, okay, we can have robot in hospital where robot can do this, that. Nowadays, and 1 year down the line, it's a reality. And in coming future, you will see more robots being deployed in hospital. Okay, so within 1 year,
Okay, okay.
pandemic has lot of negative aspects as well, but this has some positive aspects as well.
Yes,
One of them
exactly.
is improvement in technology. We all know that Second World War was one of the most devastating thing happened to mankind, but that also pushed
Hmm.
a lot of technological development that we can see that we
Hmm.
are getting benefits at this point of time. But that is because in crisis we work hard, we think hard, and we think out of the box, and that pushes the boundary of technology, and that improves the technology as well. So because of the pandemic, we know there is certainly requirement of robotics in different areas, and robotics in hospital application is going to be a certain thing in near future. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
um,
Right.
mm,
Hmm.
so these are things in our surroundings, but in other more business oriented themes, we, as I mentioned, robots were used in production plants
Hmm.
for many years. But in warehouse, as I showed the video, they are used
Hmm.
since Amazon is using these robots since 2010. um,
Okay.
so that is the thing, and now each and every e-commerce players are adopting. So Flipkart is building new warehouses. This is sort of, I don't know whether this is a public story or not, but I can tell you that they are building one near Calcutta as well, a new one. They already have one, but they are building a new one, a very big one, and there will be a lot of robots there along with human worker.
Okay.
So those areas will be pushed further, and then a lot and lot more industrial automation. So in different industries, there are these two things are bringing a lot of automation. Probably you have heard of this term, industry 4.0. So under
Hmm.
this theme, there will be robotics and IoT going hand in hand and bringing a lot more automation to the industrial setup. So in industry, there were a lot of manual monitoring and replacement, and a lot of maintenance thing has to, were done traditionally by manual means, right? Now those will be automated using IoT and usage of robotics, right? So yeah,
Right.
so those will be in the industrial sectors as well.
Okay, okay. For going into robotics or IoT, did you pursue any particular course, any specialized course for robotics or IoT, uh, or
Yes,
uh,
for
I mean,
me,
how a student how a student should proceed? Because students are generally excited about this field, but they do not have particular idea.
yeah. Yes, for me, I didn't do anything, any special courses.
Okay.
It's all learning on the job for me. But nowadays, things are coming up. Still, in India, there are very few specialized courses or degree in robotics. There are very few institutes that provides any degree in robotics. I can name a few. So the institutes that focus more on robotics,
Okay.
there is Triple IT Hyderabad. They have a very good robotics lab, and we also collaborate with them. They have MS by research in robotics. Then there is IIST Shipur. So in
Okay.
Shipur they have one MTech program in mechatronics and robotics.
Okay.
IIT Kanpur, they are also quite they are also quite active in robotics, but I don't think they have any degree in robotics per se, but there are a lot of stress on robotics, and maybe people can do MTech in mechanical engineering, and then they take some specialized courses. Um, Triple IT Allahabad, they have one MTech program in robotics. Manipal Institute of Technology, they have one MTech program in industrial automation and robotics. These are some good institutes. Others are not. I'm not saying others are not good, but there are some private universities like Amity, Osmania, Parul University. They are also offering. These are fairly new courses. They are offering courses in automation and robotics or AI and robotics, something like that. But I would say specialized courses in robotics or a particular complete degree in robotics still limited. But I heard that government, that is government of India, is pushing for specialized course in, let's say, robotics. So if a institute is trying to offer a new course, new degree
Mhm.
course, the government is pushing for these kind of fields, not traditional fields. Government feels that the number of degree courses offered throughout India in traditional areas may be sufficient, but we are lacking in these advanced areas. So if more courses are offered in those domains, then that will be beneficial, because in near future there will be some requirement from different industries, and if we have students
Mhm.
studying these areas, then we'll have some resources ready. So that is the thing. Now other institutes who don't offer entire degree around robotics, what they do what do they have is some courses on let's say robotic kinematics or robotic control, or things like that, or AI for robotics, right? So IISc Bangalore, they don't have any degree around robotics, but they have robotics group or robotics lab, and that offers different courses. So depending on your interest, you can take those courses. Similarly, in various other institutes, they offer courses. So if you want to pursue robotics related career, right? Now, depending on your background, you can take
Mhm.
different kinds of courses. So one obvious thing is you can study AI, right? And that has wide spectrum of application. And robotics is certainly one of the major application domain, right? So if you study AI, it's a win-win scenario. Robotics is certainly one domain. Otherwise, it has many other applications as well. But if you are coming from, let's say, mechanical engineering background or control systems background, then there are those robotics kinematics or robot control courses. Those are particularly focused towards robotics, and you can take those courses, and then you have much deeper insight on how these traditional knowledges are applied on robotics. Robotics is a multidisciplinary applied domain, right? So
Yes.
if you take a specialized course, that is always beneficial, because as I said, I didn't do any specialized course, but that has its own demerit. I had to do a lot of I had to spend a lot of time to figuring out how to do things, even doing the simple things, right? Especially if you don't have the theoretical knowledge. So if you have the theoretical knowledge, it is always helpful. And second thing is, obviously around me there are many other helping hands, so that is certainly helpful.
Mhm.
In our lab we have people from mechanical engineering background, electrical engineering, computer science, right? So I can always reach out and then get help. So there was one lady, now she left. So the she did her MTech from Shibpur, IIST Shibpur. As I said, they have a MTech program in mechatronics and robotics, and she was the first batch. She was the first
Okay.
batch graduating in that degree. So she did bachelor's in computer science, then MTech in mechatronics and robotics, and then she did her PhD
Okay.
from mechanical engineering department in IIT Kanpur. Okay. Now
Okay.
she is working in agricultural domain, robotics for agriculture. Okay.
Oh,
Nah,
that's great.
she now she is working in a university in Netherlands. So nah, that's the thing, right? So as I said, you can either enroll for specific degree programs around robotics. Those are relatively limited, so you can depending on your background, if you are coming from computer science, you can study computer science, but then you can take specialized course for robotics,
Hmm.
right? And if you are
Hmm.
coming from mechanical engineering background, you can do MTech in mechanical engineering itself, but there you
Hmm.
can take specialized course in robotics, right? So
Right.
that's how it can be.
Okay. So basically, there is one MTech. I mean, students need to do some MTech degree. Indian students at least. Am I right?
Yes, there
Because
is there is I
courses
think
available are mostly.
yeah. There are very few. I think some
Hmm.
universities are coming up with the bachelor's degrees. It's
Okay.
mostly MTech degree. Even MTech degrees are relatively less,
Rare.
that but there are some MTech degrees, right? Yeah.
Okay, okay. No, so I was thinking that if a student is pursuing BSc, suppose BSc in
Hmm.
physics or computer science, then they need to complete masters and after that MTech by clearing GATE exam, and
Right.
then they can think about entering this industry.
Right. Yes, you if you are interested, I mean, many institutes, even though they are not having specialized courses offered by the faculties, many institutes have specialized courses offered by the faculties.
Hello, hello.
Hello, can you
Ha,
hear me?
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So what I was saying, if a different institutes have robotics club, different institutes organize robotic competitions. So if you are
Hmm.
really interested in robotics, what you can do is you can build or you can participate in any of these robotics club. If your institute do not have robotics club, probably
Hmm.
you can establish one, right? Because it's a multidisciplinary field, and it would be very difficult to
Hmm.
do something on your own
Yes.
alone. And if you build a club and there are a couple of members, and I'm sure many people will be interested, then everybody
Yes.
can
Yes. Yes.
contribute and everybody can work on it, and then you can have
Hmm.
something, right? And once you
Hmm.
build something, you can participate in different robotics competition, and maybe you are not going to win. That's okay, you will gain a lot of insight and lot of things from the participating in those competition. And whenever possible in future, you try to get some course and try to enroll in some course that is there, but at present you
Hmm.
can do this way.
Exactly. Right. Right. And these days we are seeing lots of advertisements about online courses in robotics, like offered in Coursera or by Purdue University. So, are they advisable? Uh,
Yes,
are they?
if the courses are from good institutes, then yes, that is fine. Because as I said, there are many aspects of robotics, right? So
Hmm.
so and there are a lot of theoretical knowledge required as well.
Hmm.
So, studying a course, robotics doesn't mean you have to do each and everything by hand, or you have to implement on to something. So, just to gain the theoretical knowledge, you can certainly take part in those courses, right? And
Hmm.
then there are a lot of
Right.
simulators available. Okay. And those simulators, many simulators are physics based, so those will have a very realistic behavior of the robots. So even if you don't have the robot, what you can do, if you are trying something robot control or kinematics domain, you can do things in the simulator as well. Okay, so
Hmm.
so 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 that part is fine. Even now, people who do active research in robotics, they don't always have the hardware available with them. And even if they do have the hardware, they don't first go and do things on the hardware. They first work with the simulator, right? Because with the
Oh,
simulator you can do repetitive things, many things, and once it is working, then you can try it on the real hardware. So
right.
for you, if you don't have access to the hardware, you can do things with the simulator. So that part is fine in that sense.
Okay, okay. So, basic skill required for robotics is, I think, programming, because you have to be a very good programmer, I think. So, what is your opinion?
Yes.
Most
So
important skills. Hmm.
yeah, whether you are if you are coming from computer science background, then programming is obvious,
Hmm, hmm,
right? But even if you are coming from mechanical engineering or any other field, you need to have certain background knowledge about programming. So that is a must. Otherwise, how are you going to, so at the end, you whatever you
hmm,
learn, you want to apply it to something, right?
hmm,
So
hmm.
if you don't have access to a hardware, you want to try it out on the simulator. But even
Right.
doing that, you need to write some code, right? So programming
Hmm,
is a
hmm,
must. You need to learn
hmm.
programming.
Yes. Now, I was asking because syllabus has changed recently, and lots of Python programming has been introduced. I mean, in the general, I'm talking about the general degree course. So, lots of Python programming has been introduced. So,
Right.
so what sort of programming is usually used in robotics? So, is that something like Python, or Python itself, or some more advanced?
Right. So it's
Uh,
it's it's mostly Python, and C plus plus is also there.
okay.
So if you know Python, if you learn Python, that would be really beneficial and really good. Most AI related developments nowadays are around Python, right? There are very few people who write code in C for AI related developments, right? But when it is going to at some level, it may be you may need to require C. I'm coming to that point at a later point, but Python is really certainly something helpful. Let me give you my example. So I did bachelor's in computer science, right? So since then I started programming, and till my PhD I did almost everything in C. So I used C plus plus, briefly Java, Python also, but never used them that thoroughly. I did everything in C, but when I started working at TCS, I completely switched to Python. Nowadays I do everything in Python. I don't do anything in C. So that's the thing. Okay, but if you don't know this fact, then let me tell you. The fact is, Python is again high level language and interpreted language.
Hmm,
So the execution speed is quite slow as compared to C. C is the bind, though C is also sort of high level language, but
hmm,
when it is compared to Python, it is not that high level. So the program is really bound to the hardware. So C, the performance of a C program is really fast. Okay.
hmm,
But Python, it's a matter of application. Okay. So if your
hmm,
application doesn't require that real timeness thing, then Python is more or less fine. Many engines, many software, their background engine is written in C, though the program that you are writing is in Python. Okay, so even if you write program in Python, that engine will convert it into C, and then it will run
Okay.
efficiently and faster. So you don't need to worry about that. So the point is, C is certainly very good, very efficient, and it has lot of relevance even today. But if you are learning Python, things will be much more simpler and easier. And yes, and you can use it and apply it almost everywhere. So yes, go ahead with Python.
Okay, okay. Thanks a lot for this particular suggestion. uh, okay, sir. Roughly, my questions were something like this, but please, you were talking about certain video about that human robot interaction. Uh,
Oh, yes.
huh,
Okay.
would you-
I'll just show you that video.
okay.
um,
And we are having some questions from students. We are coming to that later uh,
okay.
after your video.
Yeah, so let me know if you can see my screen.
Just a minute. Yes. Yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the famous robot Sophia.
So,
Probably most of you heard about it.
hmm,
So I was having an interaction with that robot last year. Last year it was in Delhi during a robotics conference. So that was one of the first robotics conference in India. During that they brought the robot here, and yeah, you could have interacted with the robot. So I took the opportunity to interact with it. Now they have, the Sophia robot is built by Hanson Robotics, a company based out in Hong Kong. So Hanson is our partner as well. So we are working together with Hanson. We means TCS. So Hanson also sent a robot, this one to IISc. Now there is one such robot in IISc as well. I think
oh,
last week they inaugurated one sort of a project and lab, and PM was there as well. And then some work was done so that it can interact in Hindi, and I don't know the last thing, I haven't seen that video, but that was the interaction we were having. So yeah, so let's just hear this part.
okay.
I think you are very intelligent. Yeah, the audio is not that clear, but if you search this
Hmm.
video is in YouTube. If you search for my interaction with
Oh,
Sophie, probably you will be able to say it. So
surely I will.
yeah. So the point is, yes, the interaction capability of Sophia is very limited. So this is famous. This is phenomenal work in terms of facial expression. So they have
Yes,
lot of,
exactly.
yeah. So the
Exactly. I was thinking this. Yes. Hmm.
yes. So they have a lot of motors inside the face part, and they can control this muscle kind of thing, that skin part, so that it looks like human like facial expression. And that is the main strength of this robot. Other than that, rest of the thing are very rudimentary. Interaction capability is very rudimentary. If you have seen other videos of Sophia, those are mostly staged. So the question set were pre-planned and things like that. That's okay. We are really at the early stage of deploying robots in our surroundings. So that is the thing. So the point is, this is one of the scopes. When now imagine this scenario. You have a robot and there are two three people. So instead of robot, so this robot is a humanoid, looks like a human, right? So instead of a robot, if this is a person and there are two more person, now this is one-to-one interaction. But if there are other people, right? So how do we interact? I am interacting with two, three people, right, at the same time. Now, if somebody is speaking from my left, I turn to that person and then try to make eye contact and listen and then respond. Then suddenly somebody starts speaking from my right. I turn towards that person and then address that person, right? So that is a
Mhm.
natural way of conversing, right? So
Right,
now
right,
imagine instead of me, it's a robot who's interacting with a group of people. So we expect the robot should behave in a similar way, and that is what we did. Let me show you this video. This is, yeah, just let me just fast forward this part. Yeah. So this is not a that kind of humanoid robot, but that's okay. That's not the point. The main point is it can be any robot, and the idea is the robot is able to understand who is speaking and then trying to focus on that person. So here there are two speakers or two other participants you can see, and this is a robot, this is a turtle bot, this is our lab, by the way. This is a
oh,
turtle bot, and this robot is interacting with these two persons, and when somebody is speaking, the robot turns toward that person. I can see your face, look at me. Yeah, so you see that now it turned towards speaker one, and
okay.
so that is the idea, right? So once
Hmm.
this thing become a bit more mature, it can be deployed in a robot. We can deploy the similar thing on so there is an probably, yeah, so here there is just one screen and this is a stand kind of thing. This is another robot standing there, and we are deploying this onto that robot. So yeah, this is the kind of interaction we can have with a robot, right?
So your work is almost like playing, isn't
Sorry.
it? Your nature of your job is almost like playing with robots.
Yes,
It is
yes,
like that.
yes. Well,
Yes.
I don't I don't play with robots that much. Some of my colleagues do. I mostly focus
Oh,
on developing algorithm and then try to do things with simulation and things like that. And then I give it to them to actually deploy on the robots. Because even after research part, there is lot of engineering effort is required to actually
right.
deploy onto the system. So they takes care of that part. But yes, and what we did in this pandemic, since we are not able to go to office, so
Right.
we take those robots in our house. So there is robot in some of our colleagues house, the robots running around in their house, so they are experimenting in their house. So that kind of thing.
Oh, I see. That sounds fantastic.
Yes,
Okay, so now students were asking questions since the start of the session.
right.
Indrajit is asking, can robots be creative? Is it possible to make a robot that will be creative, like human?
Yeah, so yeah, I hope by creative you refer to artistic creativity. Because yeah, so yes, the short answer is yes, and long answer is no. And at least there is a way forward. There is lot of effort required to make it in that sense creative, or may not be possible at all, and maybe that's the distinction between a human and a machine. When we are able to really build truly artificial intelligence, then probably they can be creative or artistic creative, right? Other kind of creativity or technical creativity is not something that you that is there by born, but that is something you can learn and sharpen, right? Technical creativity. So that kind of creativity you can certainly instill in artificial brain or a mechanical device. So nowadays we are at a level where an artificial system can write a paragraph, can compose music, can create uh, mm, different kinds of yeah, images,
Oh,
right? I don't know whether you have seen that kind of images or not. So there are a bunch of images created of human beings that just looks like human being, but there is no human exist in the on earth like that. So those are just like pictures of human being, but there is no person on earth like that. So those are artificially created, right? So that kind of thing is possible, and the system, how does it do that? So like any most artificial systems, or nowadays with deep learning systems, what you do, you fill it with a bunch, with tons of data, and then with that data it keeps learning and learning and learning, and with
yeah.
that it learns, right? Now how you teach a kid, right? How my daughter, she is 3 years old, how she is learning numbers and things, right? So I used to show her one 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 one. So she saw this for I don't know 10,000 times, and from there she learned that, okay, this is one, this means one, this means one, right? And from there she learned, and this is same with a robotic system, right? Or any artificial system. So you give it. Now coming to the creative part, again, I'm if I'm talking about technical creativity, then from there, okay, this I have some basic knowledge. Now I have knowledge on A, I have knowledge on B, I have problem C. I for this I can combine A and B to probably solve C, and this is what the technical creativity, right? And this can be sharpened, this can be trained, and this can be created. So this kind of thing is possible. But then if I talk about artistic creativity, which is something we get by birth, right? Um, no matter how much I try, I may not be. I'll never be able to sing like any good singer, right? So that's absolutely impossible, right? So those kind of thing probably is not possible. Similarly, composing a music, as I said, the system is fed with a number of music pieces, right? And from there it learned that if I put this piece and this piece together, it sounds nice, it sounds proper. From there it tried to generate something, and it generated something which may sound something proper to our ears, but yeah. So you get
Hmm.
my answer, right? Yeah.
Yes, 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 right. And Sahil Khan is going towards the emotional side. So, can robot have emotions?
Yeah. Again, so that is just I if there are more questions like this, let me just answer it in one shot. That we are really far away from true artificial intelligence. Okay, so that kind of thing requires actual intelligence, and we are really far away from that, so that is not possible. But showing emotion, yes, you can train it to show emotion, like Sophia is so the mechanical part is built, so you can show different types of emotion through the facial expression. And now what you have to do is you have to have a system which is able to detect based on the context what kind of emotion I should show now. So that's a system which computes what kind of emotion should be shown. It may be correct in 99% of the time, it may be incorrect in 1% of the time. Okay, and then you map that kind of emotion to the facial expression. That is possible, but on its own, no.
Hmm. Yeah, I get it. Gaurav Maiti is asking that can robot be used for security like army, police, etc.
Yes,
I'd like to ask that is it being used right now, or it is not being? Is
yes,
it already being?
yes, it is. It is.
Hmm.
In not maybe in terms of policing, but some sort of surveillance. Let's say in industry for stock monitoring. I mean, what is there inside your storage, right? Whether they are out of place or not. For that kind of thing, ground robots or drones are used, and similar things are used for surveillance. Whether they are full-time deployment or they are some pilot, so that kind of things are there. At least I am not aware where a full-time deployment for surveillance is used, but it is used in different pilot setup. And yes, probably you have seen that article where drones were flying inside airports and things like that, or
Hmm.
high
Hmm.
security areas. So how do you avoid that? So your one of your tool is using another drone. So in that case, the drone will act as a police, right? So
Right,
so
right.
and that's a reality. So we recently we there was one robotics challenge, international robotics challenge called MBZRC, that was in Dubai earlier this year. Sorry, Abu Dhabi. There, one of the challenge was a drone has to catch a flying object, right? So this flying object can be a ball, can be another drone, or something like that. So that's what we developed, that the drone is tracking that flying object, and then it goes near it and put it inside a net or something like that. So that kind of policing is certainly possible, and border patrolling and that kind of thing is certainly possible. Now, the actual deployment may not have happened as of yet, because there are certain practical limitations, especially battery and that kind of thing. But that will happen in near future.
Great. Okay. Chayan Acharya is asking that what about future of robotics in India, and is there any entrepreneur in India who is doing something with robots?
Yes, yes. There are many new startups in India. In last
Okay.
3 4 years, there are a number of robotic startups that spawned, and some other international companies, they are also starting. Some are already working, some are already having some operations in India. The two famous robot manufacturers, Kuka and ABB, they have their India operations, right? Though they are not building things here as of yet, but for maintenance and service, they have their engineering team here in India. So yes, and as I said, the future is very bright. Last year, if we were having this conversation last year, I would have said many things are a bit more futuristic, but because of pandemic, uh, hello,
Hello? Yes, yes.
yeah, but because of the pandemic, lot of things has pushed forward in this domain. So in
Hmm.
very short time, we'll see lot more deployments in industrial setup. As I said, all e-commerce companies are deploying robots. So and they will require all different kinds of engineers, from manufacturing robots to maintaining those robots, programming those robots, and all these things, right? So all these things, and many industries are also doing
Yes.
automation, deploying more robotic systems, robots, and things like that. So there are also a lot of things are there. Uh, just to complete that part, at this point, I would say the number of job opportunities in terms of robotics, I would say still relatively less, but in near future there will be much more thirst. I can say something from TCS point of view. So we have a robotics kind of division, business kind of unit. We are at this point, at least I'm not aware that TCS is hiring people seeing their robotics background. At the lab we are hiring, but that's 2 3 people, right? We are hiring with the robotics background, but from the business unit TCS, as most of us know, TCS is not hiring people with robotic skill per se, but internally for that business unit we are they are looking for, okay, who has this knowledge, who has some experience
Oh,
in,
I
in
see.
that kind of
Okay.
thing. Because
Hmm.
at this point, if we go to market to see people, to seek people with robotics experience or the knowledge, there is no one, right? So that's why we are not hiring in that
Hmm.
sense, but that landscape will change. That landscape may be changing in 4 5 years.
Hmm.
So yes.
Right. Okay. And his next question is about a certain company named Scale AI. So,
Hmm.
if you know about the company named Scale AI, can you elaborate how it works? Uh,
No,
Scale AI.
I'm not sure about that company. Sorry.
Okay. 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 That's all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. This session has been totally new for my students and for me. That is for sure. Actually, I didn't have this idea that robotics is being used so widely in our daily lives. I really had didn't have much idea about that. So, sir, thank you so much. And students have received wonderful guidance from your elaborate discussion. They are already
Yes.
saying this in the comment section.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir, and please take care and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, same to you. So the Merry Christmas to all the students, and hope a very happy and prosperous New Year to everyone.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Bye.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.